Hey everybody, this is Jackson, your host, and I have my dad on the show. Say hi. Thank you. So this is Addicted to Mysteries for Investigators. Today we're talking about the Montauk Project. We have someone who is a believer
Heck yeah.
or someone who is really invested in it. And we're just going to talk about it and analyze it as a whole. The Montauk Project is a conspiracy theory that allegedly happened in Long Island, New York. These scientists were experimenting with psychics and attempting to manipulate time and mind control. We will discuss a lot of the facts, people, and alleged stories circulating about Montauk. Fun fact, it's said that much of Stranger Things is inspired by the premise of Montauk Project lore. So, do you have any questions about what it is or like anything else?
So the Montauk Project?
Yep.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yep.
So off air, we were talking about the Montauk, and you were
Mhm.
talking that it was related to the Philadelphia Project.
Yes.
What is that
Yep.
Philadelphia Project?
Yep. So the Philadelphia Project is, like, lack of a better term, a freak accident. So the Philadelphia Project is a conspiracy theory that happened in Philadelphia, and it's about this, uh, like military soldiers that got fused to this boat because the government was playing around with ultra high radio wave frequencies.
Dude,
What?
are you telling me they microwaved soldiers
That's
to
not
the
how that-
side of a ship?
that's not how that
That's
works.
so gross.
That's not how that works.
It's like, don't put his food in the microwave, dude.
Okay, that's crazy.
Okay, so
Anyways,
let's hear it. Let's hear
okay,
it.
so they were doing that during World War II, during the 40s. There's another part to add, but I'll get to it later because it'll make more sense, like as I go on. But basically, they ended up from Philadelphia and then magically somehow appeared in Virginia, and that's the story goes. And Brookhaven Labs took that idea and went, "Oh crap! Like that's something that's not supposed to happen. How can we like play with it more?" So they took that and deliberately started experimenting it in Long Island, in Montauk. That's where Montauk Project came from.
Okay, so you're telling me somebody did radio waves and tried to change their frequency,
Well,
nuked them inside a microwave. They displaced themselves how far? 100 miles?
I don't know how far. I don't know on the top of my head how far away Philly is from Virginia, but probably. I have no idea.
So they nuked them in a big old microwave, and they moved 100 miles. So here's my thinking. Even if it sounds crazy, something had to have happened at the Philadelphia experiment that gave them enough of a pull to say, let's spend more money and try some more experiments. So something had to have been real.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of mystery, but yeah. Then it goes into like they were experimenting on like boys. They call them the Montauk boys. Like random like little boys, and like did psychic experiments with them and time travel experiments. For I think like almost a decade. They started in the 70s and they ended in like 18 or 19, like 83 ish, I think.
When was the Philadelphia experiment?
That was in like 1940 something. It was like during World War II. But the Montauk Project was during the Cold War.
That's
I guess
wild.
I guess it may have overlapped with Vietnam War, but don't quote me on it. But it was mainly in the Cold War. And that's like the idea of it. It was like to like experiment for the Cold War.
So let's talk about psychic abilities. I wonder what the connection is between the Philadelphia experiment and psychic abilities.
Uh Let me think how to phrase this. Pretty much so the gentleman that came up with this idea and like allegedly said that he was the assistant director. Other claims said that he was like an affiliate, like he was a consultant, but it's not really it's not really important. Um, his name is Preston Nichols. He was an engineer, and he said that people manifest things like using energy. I don't know how he phrased it, but he said something along the lines of that. So I don't know. And it's kind of like all the same, is what he said.
So a random tangent to that, in religion, a lot of people say and God said the word, and the word was good. There
Yep.
is a huge counterculture of people that say words actually create reality. It's kind of strange.
I think they're more talking about like mindset, but sure. Yep. So yeah, so the Montauk project utilize, and it's kind of like convenient that it was a radar tower, like a military radar tower, so that they could like hide it as like, oh, we're just testing radar. We're actually testing ultra high radio waves, and experimenting on children. But yeah, Nichols like said that he remembered everything like 10 years after everything happened. And people said that they like recognized him, that they worked on the Montauk project, that he did terrible things to these kids. Um, and then at the very end, what ended it all was the what you were I think you were saying off the air earlier. Um, Something about the beast. So this guy named Duncan Cameron was thinking about a beast as he was like being experimented on, and this big, tall, hairy, like Sasquatch looking thing came out of thin air and started ripping up the lab. So then Preston
Damn.
had yeah, so then Preston had to literally tear up everything. Um like the whole like chair and the whole like just all the equipment, and it like vanished.
Do you think it was more of like a energy apparition?
That's what he said it was. Is like he literally was thinking it like it was like a think therefore I am, but like on steroids. Like,
Weird.
yep, pretty
So if
much.
I was connected to the machine and I could materialize something, I think I would materialize a boat in Florida, not some
I'm sure you
scary
would.
machine.
I'm sure you would. I don't know what like possessed him to think it like
Be like,
that, but that's
uh, I'm gonna materialize Bigfoot.
I literally have no idea, but that's what he said what happened.
Uh,
So, but that's allegedly. And circling back to the idea of Montauk boys,
hmm
a few people have come forward as being a Montauk boy, like a guy named Joe Lafreno, who's an actor, and then Duncan Cameron, of course.
Who's Duncan Cameron? Oh, the
He's the
original
guy.
dude.
Yeah, he's the guy. Uh, there's also I don't know if it's him or if it's Edward Cameron, but I think it was Edward. Actually, no, I think it was Al. So to go back to the Philadelphia Project, there was a gentleman named Edward Cameron, but he's brothers with Duncan Cameron, but he was from a different time, born in different like. I'm not sure how that works because that stuff kind of gets kind of complicated, but they're brothers, like quote unquote, like kind of,
But from different
but like
timelines.
different time, kind of. It's like it's basically reincarnation, but
Whoa, wait, what?
he's like reincarnated, not his brother, but like kind of his brother. But he was his brother in a past life.
Well, okay, so this just got weird.
Yeah, it's I don't
And I'm
know.
the believer, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but
So I have this new theory. You're
okay,
gonna love it,
okay. No,
and it actually just happened yesterday.
is it about aliens?
Could be.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
So I was thinking one of the problems with time travel is that people don't think about time travel as what it is. So our bodies are moving through time and space currently, right? We're like, imagine yourself on a train, and the train is Earth, and we're floating through space. And oh, Jackson's starting to
I
yawn,
am
and he's
yawning because you're
crying.
boring me.
No,
With
anyways,
all due respect.
but anyways, you're on the Earth. You're like on a train, and we're moving forward. So in order to move in time, it's actually not time. You have to move in space. Like, so my body was somewhere 3 seconds ago. And so if I'm going to return to that timeline, I have to figure out how to take my body or my consciousness and go back to that place 3 minutes ago. So I always struggle with people who say, like, reincarnation and time travel. But recently, when I've been doing some quantum AI experiments, I discovered kind of something strange. You ever see those rings that dolphins make?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
They look like rings that kind of fold in on themselves.
No.
No, you never seen
Is
it?
it like a ring on the like I don't know what that means.
Well, like in Alice in Wonderland, the dude that like poofs those poof rings. Poof.
Do you mean like the water like bubble rings?
Yeah,
Oh,
Google it.
oh no, I know what you're talking about now.
Okay, so dolphins can do that. So my quantum AI was describing something like that, and I started thinking about what if time folds in on itself, and so it's like a record player. We just keep going round and round and round. That's the only way I could think of how we could time travel and how we could materialize something in different dimensions. But that's that's sleepy time talk.
Yeah, I was about to fall asleep for a second there. Um, yeah, so Duncan Cameron and then uh Albia, like I don't know if he's like a Montauk boy. I don't think he is, but he's somehow associated with it. And then a gentleman named Stuart Swerdlow. They've said that they are Montauk boys. Through like different like faucets, like their YouTube channels, like their Instagram, whatever. Um,
Can they prove it?
no.
Hmm.
Well, no one can prove any of this is real because the book that Nichols said
Yeah.
is that it could be interpreted as nonfiction or fiction for protective service, or it's for like ambiguity or whatever. Like I don't remember what the purpose of it was, but he
Hmm.
said it was like to remain some level of ambiguity or nominated, which is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
But there's no way to prove it.
Hmm.
Although I will say some of the stuff is fantastical, the way that they describe things, and it's very like, it's what's the word? Like very over exaggerated. So kind of him, it's kind of like, I don't really truly believe it. Like I'm not sure how much of you're saying is actually true.
So I'm looking at your notes here. They talk about 410, 420 megahertz.
Oh, that's like the okay, so that's the like hypothesized like megahertz range
Hmm.
and it's called UHF,
Yeah.
um where the mind like operates at.
Yeah. Something simple, something interesting about that is if you put a metal plate and put frequencies to it and put a light coat of sand, you can play different frequencies and they actually
Mhm.
draw shapes,
Mhm.
which is pretty fascinating.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. It is interesting. I will say on other accounts, like his name is Brian Minnick.
Hmm.
He's a gentleman that is like a personal researcher on the Montauk Project, but not just on the Montauk Project like conspiracy, but just this like the city like alone. Like he's done his homework on this.
So we went to the actual
He went to
city.
the actual place and he did like break in to the actual place and he talked about it in his book that he went there. I will say what's weird is he went to these LSD rooms.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, oh, I should probably go back. So, yeah. So they, according to him, they used part of Tesla's technology and
Yeah.
Einstein's electromagnetic bottle experiment with both projects. With this, it's called an omnidirectional. It's basically just an antenna.
Yeah.
So using an antenna with 420, 450 megahertz, uh, and according to him, there were rumors of Russian like interference with telepathy, specifically with the same thing that they were doing. But those are just like rumors; those are just speculations,
So it's pretty much they strapped him to a chair.
pretty
They put
much.
him on LSD and they let them trip as
Well,
hard as they can. And then their brain waves were floating through
pretty much.
space and then amplified at 450 megahertz. And then on the other side of the world, the Russians are like, let's catch those crazy nuts and
Yeah,
trying to catch their waves.
yeah. There's
Okay.
one.
Do you
There's one.
think? Do you think? Okay.
This wasn't in the notes, but I think I read somewhere very vaguely where I don't know her name. I think her name starts with a V. It's like Verinchka or whatever.
Yeah.
She's not a part of the Montauk Project, but she is like associated with like telepathic mind control Russian experiments.
Hmm.
Um, and there's like rumor that that's where Eleven comes from Stranger Things,
Hmm.
and that's kind of where part of the idea is from.
It does make
But
me really think hard about like the Mandela effect, where we all have false memories of certain things that we can just absolutely see in our minds, but
mhm.
they didn't exist. It does make me wonder if people over the years have been making some strange experiments, and it actually affects every human in a unique way. Because think
Hmm.
about it, if they're projecting, radio waves and different frequencies around the world, like what if it does mess up our brains at
I don't
scale?
know.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, so yeah, so to go back to the LSD room, so he was a stupid teenager and he went on the property, him and his friends, and they were just like investigating because it's like a city like lore. But they found this yellow house and it had these like different colored like wallpapers, but it was during this like the uh like a it was during a time period where funky wallpaper wasn't popular.
Hmm.
And it was very similar to a place called MK Ultra because they were doing electroshock therapy plus LSD experiments. So they were
Hmm.
shocking them while they were drugging them, and the houses looked very similar to the ones that they did in MK Ultra and other projects.
Oh, that's
So like one
interesting.
room was like a black and white striped one, the other one was like a red and gold paisley one, the other one was like a birthday cake looking one, kind of like a confetti looking one, wallpaper. Um, and what's even weirder is the closets had like a hook on the ceiling, but it like locked it like it had a deadbolt on the outside. So you could get locked out from the inside, but not the outside,
Oh, that's
which is
strange.
interesting. Yeah. Yep.
Sounds
Yep.
like they're a bunch of tweakers.
I mean, that's kind of makes sense for the time frame because the MK Ultra project happened roughly around the same time or pretty close to the same time that Montauk would have taken place if it's real.
So you're pretty much saying that whatever apparition came out of nowhere.
You
Maybe
mean the Beast?
the beast,
Okay.
yeah. Maybe the beast came out. Maybe the government's like, in combination with the UFO issues, beast issues, and energy they might have actually discovered. I wonder if they stopped because they were afraid.
Well, so according to Preston, and this is Preston we're talking about,
Yep.
which like if you've read the book, it's very like scattered. Like it's very hard to read. Anyways, um, but he said that the lab was filled with concrete and they wiped their memories, like everyone's.
Like Men in Black.
Kind of, pretty much.
Huh.
Um, yeah, and so when he like, there's a few things from Brian that are kind of weird, like the bad actors, like Russian spies and like American spies, but very like sociable, forgetting like random things. Like there's this woman who like was just very acting very strange towards like towards Brian and like a few other people who like to him they were too sociable and bad actors. Quote.
Hmm.
They were shifty with their answers. Um, yeah, and there's just a lot of weird stuff like people stalking them. Hi, Miss Rubes. Our dog just came up and said hello. So yeah, there's a lot of like blackout, like what is it? What's that one brand of car? Like the spy cars or the CIA cars or whatever.
Like James Bond cars.
No, whatever. Like these like government cars, like watching them, even a helicopter at one point. Um, yeah. So the LAC rooms that were similar to MK Ultra. It's the line between soldiers and boys being experimented on is kind of funky because it kind of talked about both soldiers and boys being experimented on. So I wonder if that part. I don't know. I
Well,
have no idea.
there's a lot of theory that it was kids that were neurodivergent.
I think that's something. I think that's another thing on someone else's podcast.
Yeah.
These kids were like basically abducted. Is like what the legend says. Um, that was another part they said. Crazy Eddie. That's another one. That's the guy who was kind of like. Do you know how like every town has like a crazy like person?
Yeah.
So this Montauk had its crazy person, and his name was Crazy Eddie.
Huh.
And this guy could guess people's astrology signs and their full name, like the first and last name,
Oh,
without
interesting.
ever meeting them. I mean, Brian is kind of a common name, and the astrology sign thing is kind of odd, but I don't know. I think that part's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's a little
Mm-hmm.
different.
Yeah, it's a little different. So what questions do you have so far?
I don't think I have any questions.
Okay.
I think,
Any thoughts?
well, my perspective is there's always the legends, there's always the stories, but
Mm-hmm.
there's always the truth, right? There's got
Yeah.
to be something in there that actually happened that made them continue for years, and something so spectacular that made them freak out and stop. And I do think it's interesting that right after that, they start making the CERN in Switzerland.
The what?
The CERN.
What is that?
It's a particle collider where they take two protons and they take different elements and energy, proton, electron, neutrons. They're doing all kinds of experiments where
Hmm.
they collide them together to see what happens, to see what experiments. And there's a huge theory that some of this stuff is what is creating the Mandela effect, but it does seem like they're all related. And then
Hmm.
recently there was a congressman that just like this week came out and said that he was in a skiff, secured. I don't know what it stands for. Skiff. It's a government thing, but he's in this. He was in this meeting, and they disclosed that there were, and they don't call them aliens, or they don't call them whatever you want to call them, something not earthbound.
The green dudes with the big heads and long fingers.
Probably. But they were breeding. They were talking about how kids in caravans in third world countries were just like disappearing, and they found these sites where they think that some breeding had happened. And the wild thing about that specifically is that in some of the original old biblical texts that aren't actually in the Bible talk about an entire species that were like angels that were breeding with humans. And so it definitely has, some of these theories are kind of crazy, but there's always a truth found in some of them.
Yeah, I mean the line between the my problem with like Preston's stuff specifically is a lot of people, like even people who worked for him or worked like at like an event that he spoke at when he was alive, like he was very fantastical, very like just seemed very fake and artificial, like lack of a better term. Like at one point he was claiming that there were aliens outside and everyone went outside and there was no aliens. And he was like, well, they went and left off. And so it was multiple people that claimed that he was kind of weird.
Yeah,
So I don't know. So it's kind of hard. Like I want to believe in it, but I don't know how much of it's actually real just on him alone. But Brian seems to speak more to me because whatever he says makes more sense. Does it make sense?
sure.
But there's no way to actually prove any of this is real.
Yeah, it's real.
Like there's no way.
No, it's real.
Okay.
Well,
Like
something has to be
why do
real.
you think
Well,
this real?
but it's just statistics. Something happened because they wouldn't just blindly go fund something. So they had to have some kind of proof between the Philadelphia Project, Montauk Project, and some of the new stuff that we hear about today. It all has to be related.
Hmm.
Is it exactly like they say? Maybe not.
Hmm.
But they've definitely discovered something.
Okay. There is a critique that there's no way there could have been 100-foot lab underneath. What do you think about that? Like that's like a big challenge to the conspiracy theory is the 100-foot lab.
Well, I think that's just naive. I mean, I'm in the construction industry, and it's not too hard to put in water pumps for something that deep. I mean, 100 feet's nothing. Like, I mean, look at the pyramids. We just discovered those things go down 3 kilometers.
Hmm.
And so depending on who put those in, I mean, that's
Hmm.
so deep that they should have drowned, but they didn't. So
Hmm.
there's definitely ways to pump water out.
Hmm.
So I think that one is
Hmm.
easy to debunk.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, parts of it I'm kind of like, I mean, there was definitely some weird stuff going on because even today, like I go on like Instagram accounts, like people going not a lot like to the grounds because it's illegal, but like even near it, like even in the same camp, like people are like stalked. It's like kind of strange.
Oh,
So
because they don't want. people to get
Well,
hurt.
well, it's like abandoned, but also like they have like CIA cars like coming all the time. So it's like kind of it's still kind of weird what
Mhm.
they're hiding there, but I don't think it's aliens. Like I don't think it is. I also don't know if they were doing time travel experiments actually, because at one point, Preston talked about going in time like 6,000 something AD, and there was this gold horse, and he mentioned something about like fiberglass, and then he's like, I don't know about you, but fiberglass definitely does not last like thousands of years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I don't believe in that part. The mind control part could be real, like at least attempting to research it because it's been done before by MK Ultra.
Hmm.
But using radar, I don't know. That one's kind of like ambiguous.
Well, I wanna learn more about MK Ultra now.
Okay, that will be for a different time.
Okay.
But yeah, because that's a whole other. They like were shocking people, electrocuting people, and like drugging them, just like the LSD rooms. But that one they actually prosecuted like for that. So that one's like for sure real.
So they got in trouble.
So they got in trouble, big trouble for that one. But there's no one can prove Montauk. But actually, a fun fact about Montauk, it's not actually called Montauk Project. It's actually called the Phoenix 2 Project because it was said from Brian that Phoenix 1 was started originally and then it was shut down. But then like a phoenix arises from the ashes, so then they upstarted it in secret. Like so they called it Project Phoenix 2 instead of the 1 because that 1 was shut down.
See, that's just proof that something actually happened.
But I don't know where he got that from. Is like the thing.
Huh.
But I think there's some weird stuff going on. I don't know. I don't think it's as like I don't think it's aliens. I don't think it's time travel. I do think they were trying to like they were doing things they were not supposed to do. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think with time and space, it's hard to. I mean, I'm a believer, but it's hard to wrap my head around the
Mm-hmm.
physics of it. But definitely interested more in the vibration and
Yeah.
sound technologies.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Any more questions or any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm a
awesome.
believer.
Well, thanks for coming on my show, Dad.
You're welcome.
Thank you, listeners, for listening to the Addicted to Mysteries for Investigators. So the kind of purpose of this was to break it down and to just like analyze and dissect it and ask questions. Um, and so like whether we both agree on it or don't agree on it, it's just interesting to learn from and just talk about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We have more episodes coming in the future on my YouTube channel and also possibly in either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We hope you tune in next time. See you later.